Hello, I'm Ryan. You've heard it before. Listen to me or be a jackass. So, I want to do a different kind of video where I don't have the talking points, I don't have everything just scripted and going over it. Because sometimes I read that a little too fast. I want to get the message out. I thrive in conversations more than talking. If that makes sense. So, when it comes to say EHS, environmental health and safety, whether you're a manager, the director, even senior EHS leadership, VPs, consideration of how you are to be as an effective leader in this industry. You know, when you're developing and implementing EHS policies and programs, procedures, if you don't take a step back, especially if you're new to a company, if you don't take a step back, see what there is already, see what there is, what's working versus what's not. If you don't do your analysis approach first and you start making changes, you're messing with the system that's just gonna be a downfall. You're gonna have increased recordables, you're gonna have increased agitation, irritation, you're gonna have people jumping out of the ship. They're leaving. They're gonna be, because that's not the right way to do it. There is a right way of doing it. When you're doing your risk assessments, if you're, you know, a compliance or regulation person and you're just hammering all this stuff, but you're not understanding that you need to be building that understanding in the training and the understanding that the employee, hey, this is how you're supposed to do this. And like I like to say, I like the old crusty guy or gal that's been there 25, 30 years, been doing the same way for 30 years. Because you ask them the question, what's the worst incident you've seen at work? And you know what they do? They get center of attention. They start telling a story and you let them. Now I have all the stuff in my head that I want to say, hey, this is what needs to be done about this, that, and the other. But let's just call Russell. Let's say Russell, the old crusty guy Russell, right? Starts telling you about an incident and the horrifics about it. And then you ask the question, well, what would have prevented that? And then Russell goes in. Boom, 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 boom. Holy cow. This guy just made your case for EHS, safety, whatever you program that you have, right then and there. And who looks up to Russell? Everybody that's there below him. You just got your culture influxed with a guy who has his arms crossed every time you open your mouth because you're an EHS person. Bam, right there. He just opened the door. He walked through it. He's your safety champion from that point forward. Easy. It works. Done it time and time again. Tell you stories, and I will. Eventually, I'm going to get in this podcast. I'll be telling stories and stories and stories, and I'll even have colleagues that I've used to work with in the Navy as submariners. We used to say used to fish. So, we're going to have some used to ish EHS stories, if you will. Um, you know, when you're leading safety training programs, whether it be the emergency response planning, things like this, you really got to get the human. You got to get the human factor involved. Period. When you're collaborating with some of these other departments, right? Whether operations or whoever, right? If they don't understand a human level of how to work safely or be safe at work, it's going to fall apart. You can buy all the different kind of manuals and procedures, read the books, and have a great program. But if you don't have that culture instilled and safety is built into the way that we do things, it's going to fall apart. You're going to have increased incidences. You're going to increase, overhead costs, everything else. So you really need to understand that to promote a culture of safety, the culture has to be built into the way you work. It can't be, let me stack everything on top of this. So if you have behavior-based safety observations to do, it can't be just stacked on top. It has to be built into the work that you do. again, it's not a huge concept. So many people miss out on that. And I don't care if you're in manufacturing, construction, energy, healthcare. It doesn't matter the company size. It just doesn't. A safety first culture. Again, I like how, you know, well, I don't want to talk about that part. Safety first is a concept that sounds like we're safe above all else. It's not. Safety first means the concept needs to be built into the training and development of your workforce. So safety first is just, oh, we're all safety first. It's a wrong statement where it's put. How about that? Does that make sense? I hope it does. Because safety first means it's in our programs. It's in, I'm putting my book up. It's in our manual, right? The safety first is in here. This is how we do things. It's how we complete things. How we get things done. This is how we handle everything. It's safety first in this. It's not safety first mentality like, oh, I've got to make sure I have everything on that's safe. Again, PPE is always the last line of defense, but it's always the first one forgotten. Imagine that. But, from EHS leadership, working with production leadership or whoever else is other, it always seems like it's a divided island, an island, and you're on two halves of it. The problem with is that you have to merge into operations, whether it's, again, construction, healthcare, it doesn't matter. You've got to have them two together. If you don't, you're losing out. And if the other side is refusing to come over, just stop. You're riding a bicycle in a swimming pool getting nowhere. So don't do it. Just stop. You don't need that frustration. And I think a lot of safety professionals, EHS professionals, do that. They're against a brick wall. There's nowhere to go. They like a paycheck, but they're losing the fight. Why would you stay in that? Why would you do that? It's better for you to there's greener pastures out there. There are people and companies that will listen and want to do what's right and follow what right looks like. There's so many people that this is what it looks like, but we don't do it. So with that's just a little piece off my head, my chest, whatever you want to call it. I just want to drive home that safety and culture, they're two separate things, but they can be integrated to be one. And you can't force it. It has to be there. It has to be intrinsically merged and married together for it to work. If not, again, jump in a swimming pool with a bicycle. Just pedal all you can. So till then, thanks for this little rant. It's not really an episode, but I might name it episode 5 anyway. Thank you again. Have a good day.